Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. The European Union eyes historic trade deal with India soon. At Davos, the EU chief, Ursula von der Leyen, calls it the mother of all deals. At Davos, India's Information Technology Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw acknowledges India's AI revolution, calls it Industry 5.0 and points out how India is ready for it. Trump's Greenland stance sparks transatlantic standoff. Europe pushes back as tariff threats rattle the global markets. Syrian-Kurdish peace talks collapse as President Ahmed al-Shahara's government rejects decentralization demand. Tensions rise in Raqqa and Kurdish-dominated Hasakeh. Speaking at the World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos on the topic of AI power play, no referees, India's Minister for Electronics and Information Technology, Ashwini Vaishnaw, said that India is working at all levels of chip manufacturing and aims to become the world's largest supplier of services. The minister also acknowledged India's AI revolution, calling it Industry 5.0.
There are 5 layers in the AI architecture: the application layer, the model layer, the chip layer, the infra layer, and the energy layer. We are working on all the 5 layers, making very good progress in all the 5 layers. On the application layer, we will probably be the biggest supplier of services to the world. Go to an enterprise, understand the business of enterprise, understand the working of that enterprise, and provide that service using AI applications. That's going to be the biggest factor of success or successful deployment of AI, because that's where ROI comes from. ROI doesn't come from creating a very large model. 95% of the work can happen with models which are 20 billion or 50 billion parameters. We are creating a bouquet of such models. We already have. We already have a bouquet of such models which are now being deployed in multiple sectors to increase the productivity, to increase the efficiency, to increase the effective use of technology.
Global leaders, CEOs and policymakers are converging at the Swiss Alps at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos. Taking place amid rising geopolitical tensions and economic uncertainty, this year's summit is focused on dialogue, cooperation and future solutions. Diptanshu Kashyap reports.
The 56th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum is underway in Davos, Switzerland, as global leaders gather at a time of heightened geopolitical and economic uncertainty. Running from January 19 to 23 under the theme A Spirit of Dialogue, the meeting aims to serve as a neutral platform for exchange, problem-solving and future-focused discussions on challenges ranging from growth and technology to climate and governance.
We're really honored to have you join us at the start of such an important week. A week that promises to be both enriching and transformative, and comes at a historic moment as our world undergoes profound changes. It's a moment of uncertainty, but also possibility. Not a moment to retreat, but a moment to rise.
The World Economic Forum is an international non-profit think tank that brings together leaders from business, government, academia, and civil society to address global challenges through public-private cooperation. Founded in 1971 by Klaus Schwab, with the mission to improve the state of the world, the forum is best known for its annual Davos meeting, while its year-round networks focus on economic stability, digital trust, and climate resilience. At a pivotal moment for global cooperation, the annual meeting is bringing together nearly 3,000 leaders from over 130 countries, including around 400 senior political leaders and dozens of heads of state and government, alongside top CEOs, investors, and technology pioneers. The forum's impact extends beyond the annual meeting, shaping economic thinking through influential reports and initiatives, providing a neutral space for dialogue in an increasingly fragmented world, and enabling informal diplomacy outside traditional summits through behind-the-scenes engagement among political and business leaders. As global fault lines deepen and cooperation becomes harder to sustain, Davos once again serves as a meeting point where dialogue, diplomacy, and decision-making converge, with implications that reach far beyond the Swiss Alps. Diptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
Well, India has already secured new investment commitments from Cisco and Hitachi. Advanced talks also on the historic EU trade deal. And also, India has showcased its largest ever delegation to position itself as the fastest growing large economy and a premier investment destination at Davos 2026. Here's our report. At Davos 2026, the world gathers to shape the future of business, innovation, and global cooperation. And this year, India stands tall as a commanding presence. Union Ministers Ashwini Vaishnaw, Prahlad Joshi, and K. Ram Mohan Naidu join Chief Ministers like Devendra Fadnavis, N. Chandrababu Naidu, Hemanta Biswa Sarma, and others to showcase India's economic strength and vision. The India Pavilion reflects the nation's dynamism, creativity, and unstoppable momentum. From cutting-edge technology to sustainable solutions, from world-class infrastructure to thriving startups, India embodies the spirit of a nation on the rise.
Energy itself, that is the green energy and resilient infrastructure, we need more than $350 billion. And there is a return is assured. So, you know, the total NPA is the lowest today. 10, 11 years back, NPA was the highest in the world. Today, lowest 2.1%. So we are managing in every sector well. And that's why Prime Minister is telling to all us, perform, transform, and also not only performing, not only transforming, we should inform. We should inform to the world so that every person who is in Davos, he should feel that he should come here and see the India's growth.
India today is the fastest growing large economy in the world, with a young, skilled workforce, bold reforms, and a digital-first mindset. It offers unmatched opportunities for investors seeking growth and resilience. Opportunities lie also in India's northeast, with the largest state there boasting of a rapid growth potential.
We are growing at almost 13% in last 5 years, and hopefully for the next year, our projection is that will be grown by 15%. So that is the growth trajectory of Assam, thanks to the bold leadership of Prime Minister. We are necessarily strong in hydrocarbon, but we are also doing good in green energy.
At Davos, leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators from across the globe are discovering why India is not just a market, but a partner in shaping the future. India is being seen as a gateway to possibilities, where tradition meets transformation and ambition meets achievement.
Right after Davos, the next weekend, I will travel to India. There's still work to do, but we are on the cusp of a historic trade agreement. Indeed, some call it the mother of all deals. One that would create a market of 2 billion people, accounting for almost a quarter of global GDP.
India's presence at Davos is also powered by the presence of business leaders such as Mukesh Ambani and more than 100 CEOs from banking, technology, renewable energy, and startups.
We also want to be a Vishwabandhu, a partner with the whole world and all the countries and all the people. And we saw this spirit clearly today during the COVID-19 also, when we were transporting vaccines, medicines, and providing all the help to different countries who were in need at that time. And that is our values of democracy, sustainability, inclusiveness, collaboration, for the greater good of the planet that continues to guide us.
Together, they represent the unstoppable momentum of the fastest growing large economy in the world. At Davos, global leaders are discovering why investing in India means investing in resilience, growth, and opportunity. Bureau Report, DD India. And moving on now from Davos, well, tensions remain high as US President Donald Trump has intensified his push to acquire Greenland. Macron has called the tariff warning unacceptable. The EU has reiterated that Europe would have no choice but to respond if a trade war started. And the Greenland issue, in fact, has impacted stock markets, including Wall Street, and stocks opened decisively lower.
US President Donald Trump has once again triggered global tensions by doubling down on his claim that the United States has to have Greenland for national security reasons. The comment has sent shockwaves through Europe, already facing economic turmoil. European leaders are pushing back. French President Emmanuel Macron said that Trump's warning on tariffs does not make sense.
Competition from the United States of America through trade agreements that undermine our export interests, demand maximum concessions, and openly aim to weaken and subordinate Europe, combined with an endless accumulation of new tariffs that are fundamentally unacceptable, even more so when they are used as leverage against territorial sovereignty.
Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said on Tuesday that Europe would have no choice but to respond if a trade war starts.
It is important that we work closely together. Everything we are doing now is about avoiding tariffs. At the same time, I also think it is necessary to say that if anyone starts a trade war against us, which I really cannot recommend, then we as Europe must of course respond. We are compelled to do so.
Export-heavy sectors like Germany's automobile industry and Italy's luxury goods market are particularly vulnerable.
First, it is unacceptable within the NATO alliance to threaten each other with tariffs or other measures. And secondly, we must act together as Europeans. The demands and threats made by Donald Trump, the US president, are unacceptable to us.
European Union Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has called Trump's tariff warning a mistake, warning that Europe's response will be united and proportional.
Arctic security can only be achieved together. And this is why the proposed additional tariffs are a mistake, especially between long-standing allies. Europe must speed up its push for independence, from security to economy, from defense to democracy.
Adding to the controversy, Trump has also criticized UK's plan to transfer sovereignty of Chagos Island to Mauritius, calling it an act of great stupidity. Despite earlier backing from his own administration, UK said that they are surprised by Trump's Chagos comment. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov reiterated that Russia has no interest in interfering, yet certainly observing the situation.
They are members of the North Atlantic Alliance, and that alliance is now being tested to see what it is really about. So we are not at all interested in interfering in anyone's affairs. We have no connection to this issue. We are certainly observing this serious geopolitical situation, and we will draw conclusions based on the outcome of this problem.
Markets reacted swiftly. European stocks slipped, the dollar weakened, and the US Treasury yields climbed, underscoring how Greenland has now become the flashpoint of a fresh transatlantic standoff. With agency inputs, Tripti Tripaঠি's report, DD India.
The European Parliament is considering putting on hold the EU's implementation of the trade deal that it struck with the United States last summer in protest over President Trump's warning to seize Greenland. Meanwhile, France has extended support for the suspension of this trade deal between the European Union and the United States. And retaliating to this, the US Trade Representative, Jamieson Greer, he said that Trump's warning of tariffs on goods from countries opposing his demand for US control of Greenland is, in fact, an appropriate use of tariffs in a geopolitical context, and it may be aimed at prompting, in fact, negotiations. Nigeria has been rocked by another mass kidnapping as gunmen abducted over 160 worshippers from 2 churches. The incidents have become a security nightmare for the African nation. Here's our report.
In the latest in a series of mass kidnappings in Nigeria, armed bandits have abducted worshippers from 2 churches in the restive Kaduna state. According to the police, dozens of people were abducted while a senior church leader has put the number at more than 160. Officials said that troops and other security agencies have been deployed to the area and that efforts were underway to track the abductors and rescue the captives. Northwest Nigeria has seen a surge in mass kidnappings by armed gangs targeting villages, schools and places of worship. Experts say that the kidnappings have consolidated into a structured, profit-seeking industry, generating a ransom of $1.6 million between July 2024 and June 2025. In November last year, armed gangs seized more than 300 students and teachers from a Catholic school in Niger State, with 50 escaping and the rest being released in 2 batches weeks later. US President Donald Trump has ramped up pressure on the Nigerian government over attacks on Christians. In December 2025, US bombed Islamic State camps in the northwestern Sokoto state. Nigeria said it approved the strikes. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come here on DD India Live. Nitin Nabin takes charge as the BJP National President in New Delhi. And amid the breathtaking landscape and sub-zero conditions, the 6th edition of Khelo India Winter Games kicks off in Leh. Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Mark Lynn. The Bharatiya Janata Party has formally announced today that Nitin Nabin, has taken charge as the BJP's national president at the party headquarters in New Delhi. The charge-taking ceremony, it was attended by Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with senior party leaders. Chief ministers and key office bearers also attended. This marked an important organizational transition for the party. During the event, the Prime Minister congratulated the BJP and its party cadre and also expressed confidence in the new leadership. The Prime Minister also affirmed that under Nitin Nabin's leadership, the BJP is going to continue to expand its organizational strength, achieve new milestones in the times ahead, and to further deepen its connect with the youth of the country. Nitin Nabin has been elected unopposed, succeeding the outgoing BJP President JP Nadda, and is expected to focus on strengthening the party's grassroots network and organizational roadmap going forward.
आने वाले 25 वर्ष बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। ये वो कालखंड है जब विकसित भारत का निर्माण होना है और होना तय है। इस महत्वपूर्ण कालखंड की शुरुआत में हमारे माननीय नितिन नबीन जी बीजेपी की विरासत को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। मैं आजकल के युवाओं की भाषा में कहूं तो नितिन जी खुद भी एक प्रकार से मिलेनियल है, वो उस जनरेशन से हैं जिसने भारत में बड़े आर्थिक, सामाजिक और टेक्नोलॉजिकल परिवर्तन होते देखे हैं।
The Remount Veterinary Corps is a special attraction at this year's Republic Day. The Bactrian camels and Zanskar mules have descended 12,000 feet from Ladakh to Delhi to take part in the parade. Here's our report. Vishal Barrister has filed it.
On my left is Galwan. Yes, this is the Bactrian camel who has come all the way from Ladakh, from 12,000 feet to Delhi. And this is the Zanskar pony. For the first time, they would be marching at the Kartavya Path, and I have with me their trainees. Let's talk to them. Trainers, I beg your pardon. Let's talk to them and find out. Major Kiran, what's so special about Galwan?
Galwan is a Bactrian camel which is serving Indian Army since last 5 years. It is deployed all along the LAC, providing the crucial logistical support and adding one more layer of animal transport. It's a feather in the cap for the animal transport logistics in that high altitude areas of LAC.
So what's so special about these ponies?
These Zanskari ponies is basically an endangered animal, endangered breed, and one of the 8 breeds of horses which we have in India. And in 2011 these animals were inducted. These animals basically they function very efficiently at those altitudes of 12,000, 15,000 altitude, and specifically deployed in Siachen Glacier.
Okay, now when it comes to the man-animal coordination, how challenging was that?
Again, beautiful question. This is the motive behind the making these animals walk on this Kartavya parade. In Indian Army, both human soldiers, the way they are given respect, the similar way we treat our animals. They are nowhere behind.
So do they have numbers also like dogs?
Yes, for the ponies we have given them numbers because they are in large numbers. We don't give them names. So that's why they have army numbers like we have. Like I have got an army number. Similarly, every soldier has a unique army number like that. Similarly, the animal has it. For dogs, affectionately we give the army name. I mean, like for name to call them, and the camels as well.
So there you heard from Major Kiran. This is Remount Veterinary Corps, and there you see the beautiful Zanskar ponies, and this is Galwan and Nubra. They are all trained and all prepared for the D-Day. With cameraman Vish Bandhu in Delhi, this is Vishal Baristu for DD India.
Negotiations between the Syrian President Ahmed al-Shahara and the head of the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, Mosulem Abdi, they have collapsed, according to a Kurdish official. And the talks were in fact being held with the aim of cementing a ceasefire and also integrating the Kurdish administration into the Syrian state. However, the negotiations broke down after the government rejected the Kurdish demands for decentralization. The Kurdish official said that the central government was seeking an unconditional surrender, warning that the situation required urgent international intervention. The breakdown comes amid rising tensions on the ground, with brief clashes reported in Raqqa and convoys of government forces moving towards the Kurdish stronghold of Hasakeh. President Ahmed al-Shahara, backed by the United States and Turkey, has insisted on deploying the army nationwide and preserving Syria's territorial unity. This comes even as Kurdish activists, they say that the recent agreements and decrees all fall short of Kurdish aspirations. On to sports news now, and amid the breathtaking landscape of Ladakh and also freezing sub-zero temperatures, the 6th edition of the Khelo India Winter Games got underway on Tuesday in Leh. The opening ceremony at the NDS Ice Hockey Rink marked the start of one of India's premier winter sports multi-sport events. Here's our report.
The curtains went up on the 6th edition of the Khelo India Winter Games at NDS Stadium in Leh on Tuesday. The Ladakh phase of the Winter Games that will host ice sports, skating and hockey will conclude on January 26. At a colourful opening ceremony punctuated by traditional music and dance and an exhibition ice hockey match between Army 11 and UT Ladakh, Khelo India Winter Games 2026 were declared open by Lieutenant Governor of Ladakh, Kavinder Gupta. In his speech, he expressed how Ladakh has benefited from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision on promotion of sports in India.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्रीमान नरेंद्र मोदी जी के विजनरी लीडरशिप में भारत में स्पोर्ट्स कल्चर को एक नई दिशा मिली है। खेलो इंडिया इनिशिएटिव्स के माध्यम से प्राइम मिनिस्टर जी ने यूथ एम्पावरमेंट, फिटनेस, स्पोर्टिंग एक्सीलेंस को नेशनल प्रायोरिटी बनाया है।
1,060 participants, including 480 athletes, are taking part in Khelo India Winter Games 2026 to be played across 3 venues: the New Look NDS Stadium, Gupuk's Pond and Ladakh Scouts Regimental Centre Rink. Figure skating, an Olympic sport where Indians are showing international progress, is making its debut at these games.
Government has done a really good job, and they are doing from last 3 years, and they know what the players want here, and they are doing everything like for their health and even for their ice hockey matches.
This is the 3rd time that the Union Territory of Ladakh is hosting Khelo India Winter Games. The snow leg of these games will be held in Gulmarg, Jammu and Kashmir later this year.
Athletes showcase speed, skill and spirit, marking the beginning of a high-energy winter sporting season. The games here not only test endurance in extreme conditions, but also underlines India's growing confidence and ambition in winter sports. With cameraman Jagmohan Pradhan, Abhishek Prasad, DD India, Leh.
And that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, get the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. Available on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code and download it. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Mark Lin. From all of us here in Delhi, thank you very much for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.